Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you all for coming to the MIT Enterprise Forum Annual Event 2010. We started with a short clip about negotiations from Life of Brian, as some of you may have noticed. I would like to say a few words about the topic of negotiation, including a chapter about negotiation for startups and emotions and negotiation. Okay. When we look at startup companies, we see entrepreneurs always busy negotiating something, whether this is negotiating with investors, with customers, with suppliers, with banks, with employees, with joint venture partners, with their co-entrepreneurs. However, we see technical people often lacking social skills and focusing on numbers, on frameworks, on how much will I get for what, and not realizing that things are very volatile when you're negotiating. Okay. A strong aspect of negotiation is, of course, your social skills, and as we have learned, a lot of what we do depends on emotions. Okay? When negotiating, we have positive emotions like empathy and understanding and the willing to communicate and listen, and trust and caring for the other party and for our own. And on the other hand, we often encounter tension and shame, and sometimes also fear and anger, which tend to dominate the negotiation. We often see fear when parties are under constraints, which is often the case. When parties are not aware of each other's needs and emotions, and in response to mispresentation or to excessive demand or to legitimacy of one thing or another or social constraints, etc., etc. We see anger, the origin of which come often from other constraints, and again, out of misunderstanding the other party's position. The results of the anger zone is obviously loss of trust, and where there's low trust, the success chances are very low. We find people who are angry focusing on the cause of anger rather than on the topic of negotiation, and we see them often retaliating rather than thinking of the goal of the negotiation. So taking emotions into account is extremely important. The main point that I would like you to remember in the context of negotiation is the importance of thinking ahead, planning ahead, learning what you're ready to give up and what you want to get, and what the other party is there to get. So if this is the message, this is the one slide that you need to remember. I would like to ask MIT Forum Chairman Ed Malawski to say a few words of welcome. Dr. Ed Malawski is a co-founder of the infamous Tyco International, came to Israel in mid-1979 on a 2-year contract to run the Bird Foundation. After 13 years at Bird, he founded Gemini Israel Funds, the first Yozma VC. His degrees include a PhD in physical chemistry in 1953 and an honorary doctorate from the Technion in 1994. He has authored over 50 scientific papers, written a book, and has been granted 24 U.S. patents plus many foreign versions. He recently received the 2009 Lifetime Achievement Award from the Israel Management Center High-Tech Forum. Ed has served as chairman of the MIT for over 8 years now, replacing the Professor Eitan Shashinsky, the former chairman. Ed, if you please, negotiation, a doing of business, origin 1570 to 80.